cell!
With the ever-approaching release of Doom Eternal, I've been preparing my body for the onslaught of demons and gore. My go-to way of doing that, however, has been a little mod called Brütal Doom. Brütal Doom is a mod that has been around for a very long time, started development back in 2010, and gained praise from all over the MOTY community since, even being stated by John Romero himself. If they had released Brütal Doom instead of Doom back in 1993, they would have destroyed the game industry. It has since dominated the most downloaded page of most modding sites for being one of the most famous mods out there, depending if you're a Doom purist or not. You see, there are many Doom purists that have a bone to pick or two with this mod. It tears down almost all of the original Doom gameplay. I can see why that might anger you if you really care about the core gameplay. If you are one of those people, why are you watching this video? Like I said before, this mod redoes almost everything from a gameplay perspective, if you allow it to. Probably the most notable feature is the ultra-violent nature of it all. In fact, Brütal Doom has served as inspiration for the most recent reboot of the franchise, as stated by a couple of the devs from the Doom 2016 team. So how do I get this mod? Well, you're going to need a Doom mod first. It doesn't matter if you have the official game, anyone should do. You're also going to need GZ Doom, a launcher for Doom with all the modern settings of a first-person shooter. GZ Doom makes Doom run a lot better and adds a host of new graphic and gameplay options, all completely customizable of course. I'm really not going to go over GZ Doom in this video. There are plenty of guides out there that show you what settings you should use or don't use. In all honesty, I'm probably doing something wrong myself. I will link my config file in the description if you want to place your bet on me though. After that, download the mod off Moddb and tell it to open with GZ Doom. Find the mod you want to use and you're ready to go. Once you're in game, you can customize some of the Brütal Doom specific settings, like adding less or more blood, enabling disabling various animations made for the base game, or by the mod. But when you start a new game, you're greeted by a difficulty screen, and after that, an even more in-depth difficulty screen. I personally do Pistol Start and the Power Fantasy difficulty, considering that it adds all the amount of demons that you would see at a higher difficulty, but you receive less damage to yourself. But after that, you're off. There's quite a lot to cover in this mod, but I'll start with some of the main appeal first, which is the gore. Enemies when killed now spill much more blood and yield many giblets of death. You can additionally shoot these giblets into even smaller giblets for fun. You'll also notice blood and guts would no longer just cover the floor but also the walls and drip down from the ceiling. I remember doing my first gunfight with this mod, and the entire room was just soaked in guts and being in absolute awe of it all. Understand that it's Doom and it's all pixels and it's fairly easy to render copious amounts of blood everywhere, but I wish more modern games would embrace doing these bombastic gore effects. The sound design for demons and weapons had also been expanded on. The more human-like demons will yell, your weapons now sound a lot more powerful. For example, here's the super shotgun in vanilla, and now here it is in Brütal Doom. Limbs from demons can also be shot off at will, so occasionally you'll be seeing demons missing their arms or legs, just yelling in pain, and you can go up to them and perform glory kill. Demons have gone also a complete rework as well. If you've played Doom 2016, they may seem familiar. The mod did come out before Doom 2016, but it has been updated since it was released, so I think both id and Brütal Doom derive inspiration from each other in this case. Enemies also have a plethora of death animations now to fulfill your inner masochist. From arms flying off, enemies being mortally wounded, slumped up against the walls, or having zombies attempt the final stand against you with their pistols out. Hit-scan enemies also have actual projectiles now instead of instantly hitting you. You can now dodge their hits, but most of the time they'll attack other demons and aggro them instead. All of the demons also have new attacks to fight back against you, from imps and pinkies lunging at you, to Baron of Hells having alternate fires. Those are just a couple of examples, because if I went over every single new attack, you would be here literally all day. If these attacks hit you at close range, or near death, they'll perform a glory kill on you as well. The bosses in the game, like the Cyber Demon, Spider Mastermind, and the Icon of Sin, have all been redone to be even more aggressive. However, the Icon of Sin is the biggest rework of them all, from looking like this to this. Now, let's also talk about the weapons, because they have had a pretty serious overhaul overall. For starters, weapons all have alternate fires now, like in the newer games. Sometimes it's as mundane as a zoom in, or as destructive as a charged plasma blast. Depending on what game mode you pick and what type of options you've selected in the main menu, some weapons might be replaced with some of the new guns that have been added, those being the assault shotgun, a rapid fire super shotgun, the railgun, a long distance plasma rifle, and the Unmaker, a weapon that is powered by human souls from the Doom 64 game. There is nothing wrong with these guns personally, considering that they're all extremely powerful, but I prefer the stock weapons from when I'm usually playing. If you are doing just stock weapons though, there are a couple extra weapons thrown into the sandbox, those being the flamethrower, SMG, assault rifle, revenant gun, and mancubus gun. There's even a axe that can be picked up from a new type of enemy that's the scientist. It only appears on a couple of levels, but it's still interesting overall. I like these guns more than the other ones because they have a more vanilla aesthetic to it and could easily fit in the main game. Your melee attack is now improved as well. You can now perform stealth kills against weaker enemies without alerting the other demons. You're also given a kick to use when you see fit at any time, or stun or push other enemies out of the way. This is where I start having a couple of complaints about the balance of the game. Not that melee combat is bad, but it might be too good. You can start doing brutal kills when you pick up a certain power up in the game, and however, you can just keep doing those brutal kills for the rest of the map. And when you are doing the brutal kill animations, you're invulnerable, and if you did take any damage at all, brutal kill, drop health and armor, be instantly restored to probably healthier than you were before you did the brutal kill. There is literally no downside to using melee combat outside of range. I found myself resisting the urge not to keep using melee attacks because of this, but I feel like this was a mistake on the mod author's part, because there was a red hue when the fucking power up is activated, and it goes away eventually, but just your ability just to perform brutal kills at will doesn't. Another feature for combat is the addition of grenades that can be incredibly helpful, or just plain nullify difficult levels if used correctly. You also have the ability to taunt enemies now. In the menu, you are given a couple of modes that you can do, where you just taunt or do various animations. Some of those can actually aggro enemies and make them even more powerful. So we've covered weapons and demons. However, the sandbox of Brütal Doom has a few extra things to offer. For one thing, you can find captured marines laying around the map that you can recruit and help you in the fight. These marines are color coordinated to what weapons they're holding. These can be a bit overpowered at times, especially since there's no limit to how many marines you can have. So some levels in, say, Doom 2, where you're in the open city with tons of demons, completely get nullified by just having a small army of people killing the demons for you. Various power-ups can be dropped from more powerful demons, ranging from invisibility spheres, from pinkies, to demon spheres that will allow the player to become a Baron of Hell or a Revenant for a brief period of time. The destruction of various pieces of furniture and dead corpses throughout the map will not only get destroyed if shot, they might yield extra health and ammo as well. The Doom 2 levels, where you're fighting through the cities of Earth, the addition of vehicles are now in the game. These are often very overpowered, really easy way to dispel the enemy threat. So, do I have any complaints on the mod? Not really, outside of the melee. Everything I have a bone to pick with, from the enemies dealing too much damage to guns I'd rather not use, can be completely adjusted. What you can change in the settings is pretty overwhelming, but there's more of a GZ Doom issue than a Brütal Doom one. Also, the fact that Brütal Doom is compatible with every Doom mod out there, along with some games that use the Doom engine, like Heretic, Hexen, and Strife. Also, again, I know there's been a lot of purists over the years that haven't really enjoyed Brütal Doom, but ever since I found that Brütal Doom existed, it's been my preferred way to play through the franchise. It's gory, it's violent,
it appeals like the male fantasy.
It's one of the best mods ever released, period. So, if you want to hold yourself over to Doom Eternal's release, I would highly suggest playing Brutal Doom. And if you don't care about Doom Eternal, I still suggest playing through Brutal Doom. It's just that fucking good.